What's up, gamers? This is Yuban with a Mechabellum Replay commentary. Today we are going to showcase a game where we transition out of playing Steel Ball Wraith when our opponent overcommits to the air counter. Looking at our starting specialists, we were eyeing the quick supply spec because we were feeling like playing aggro with steel balls, and the extra 200 supply allows us to transition and get an early Wraith without losing any deployment on round 2. Our opponent is Steelsane, one of the top players in the game, playing as training specialist with Tarantula and Fangs. In this case, we decided to go for the aggro also because the positions of the towers here, of the cannons, we felt very protected on the right side with a wall and a cannon right behind it, which allows us to just full-heartedly go hard on the one side of pushing. Seems like our opponent reads our intention and goes for a asymmetrical defense with 2 Void Eyes, and using his intensive training card to instantly level up his Void Eye, making them very powerful against the steel balls, essentially allowing them to almost two-shotting them, pretty much two-shotting them if the Tarantula gets any hit on our steel balls. Here, our positioning, we are going for roughly 5 to 7 tiles back from the line for our middle pack of steel balls, and we go 2 tiles further forward with our corner steel ball. The idea is that we're looking for them to go in towards the tower around the same time. And we are going a little further back because we wanted to make room for our Wraith to go in front, at least 3 spaces in front of our steel balls. We don't want to have our Wraiths right on the line in most cases because they could just get instantly targeted. So I like to set up our aggro push a little bit further back. We can even argue we can kind of set up a little, even one more tile back. So let's see how it goes. We deployed 1 Hound because we wanted to trick him a bit. We didn't want him to want to reveal our hand of going for Wraith on round 2 by not getting any chaff clear unit. At least, especially when our opponent had Fangs to start, I wouldn't have minded if our asym setup could have won us a game with just 1 pack of Hounds. However, seeing that that was not the case, we are now for sure committing to the Wraith. Round 2 reinforcement, I was really debating between the Missile Strike and the Mobile Beacon. Missile Strike can be really nice to get us some early game tempo. However, with an additional Mobile Beacon available, it makes aggro very interesting. It allows us to beacon away from oil in 2 different directions. It also allows us to potentially set up any kind of weak side tower push with another beacon. So we decided to finally grab this. A little bit of a negative tempo play, especially when our opponent grabbed the Missile Strike. And you can see that the 200 supplies that we saved from round 1 went into getting us 2 Wraiths, and with still 50 supplies left over. We felt really comfortable going to Wraith because we checked our opponent's Void Eye. They did not have aerial spec, and that meant that on this round, we are most likely going to be able to take the win just by pure air superiority. The odds of our opponent going for Phoenix on round 2 after getting Void Eyes already is very, very low. And from here, it's just a typical air cheese win because our opponent has no more anti-air. But you can bet, starting next round, we're going to see some kind of counter, whether it's a marksman or Phoenix. Perfect timing, round 3 unit reinforcement, level 2 Phoenix shows up. We predicted that our opponent is going to grab this pack of units right away, and we decided to go for the same because Wraith and Phoenix can be a phenomenal composition against our opponent's medium-sized unit. If we can snipe out the Tarantulas early, that would mean our late arriving chaff coming from behind the tower are going to be super effective against the Phoenix and the Void Eyes. With that train of thought, we realized we just reinforce our chaff line, both be in front of our Wraith, behind the steel balls, and going into round 3 because of the Phoenix drop. We did not want to get cheesed by a corner flank Phoenix, and we decided to also put down a Fang. With a triple chaff round deployment, we also grabbed the range enhancement. We chose to go for this tech very early because of the Phoenix drop. With the Phoenix coming online, if our Wraith did not have range, they would just move too far forward in front of the crawlers and get early targeted. In this case, knowing that it's still early in the round with our opponent's slow chaff clear, if we can grab range, that means there's a good chance that our Wraith can actually stay behind until the end of the round to potentially take out the Phoenixes. Let's see if that's what happens. Seems like the middle pack of Wraith is still staying alive. The same with our sideline Wraith. Look at the streams of crawlers coming in even after the Tarantulas have died. So with the range tech and the streams of chaff units, we were able to snag ourselves a victory, even though our opponent went for the perfect counter against the Wraith in the level 2 Phoenixes. Going into round 4, attack damage item is always fantastic for Wraith, as they don't overkill often, and having a damage item allows the level 2 Wraith to now be able to actually take down the level 1 Tarantulas fairly easily. And we decided to put it on the outside Wraith, even though the middle Wraith did more damage, because we thought the middle Wraith is a little more exposed. You can see that 2 Tarantulas are targeting the middle stream of chaff units coming in, while there is only 1 Tarantula to take care of the outside. Meaning the middle Wraith is way more likely to get targeted and gunned down by the high level Phoenix. And look at this Phoenix now has a attack item dealing 10,000 damage per shot, essentially 3-shotting our level 2 Wraith. From here, we notice our opponent has multiple packs of vertical chaff behind his tower. And the whole idea of our steel ball Wraith push is to clear the frontline chaff in front of the Tarantulas, allow the steel balls to kill the Tarantula, and then allow the backline chaff to come in and distract the Phoenixes. Therefore, we decided to put down 1 pack of crawler to effectively pull away 3 to 3.5 packs of chaff units, delaying their arrival, hopefully allowing our steel balls, even with the oil being put down. Look at this, early lock-on because all these chaff in the back. Now these Phoenixes in the corner are just going to be shooting at chaff units all day long. However, our middle Wraith, as we had predicted, has been gunned down in the process as well. Now it's just a matter of, can we survive with enough units? Seems like it. But with our opponent going HE right off the bat, seems like his chaff clear problem has been solved. And with the oil coming in, delaying our steel balls, this push is looking more and more difficult. Round 5 unit reinforcement. Enhancement module can be used with our Phoenix leveled and potentially the steel balls leveling soon. However, that's a negative tempo play. We would have much rather go for something that can give us immediate value, which is the heavy armor. And we put it on our middle Wraith, allowing this guy to now tank for around 8 to 9 shots from the level 2 Phoenixes. Opponent went for the enhancement module, going for spending 300 supplies to get a 100 supply for free. So unless he starts to sell out of his level 3 and then transferring the item, this item is not going to do too much for him. And here is where our early round 2 mobile beacon start to pay off. With 2 beacons available, we are now able to control both packs of our units outside of harm's way, outside of the oil. And from here, we decided that we need to help the middle, or we need to high up the backline a little bit more. I should have noticed that the Phoenixes were turned around to the crawlers. And so I think in hindsight, this pack of Wraith is a mistake, as the backline Tarantula will just make very quick work of the chaff, and then these Phoenixes will literally two-shot the Wraith. However, you also see that we decided to put down one last Wraith right in the center of the board. This is to address this pack of Fangs and to potentially take out the Void Eyes and kind of create a mid-center entrance for our beaconed attack. And this also serves as a midpoint for us to go for a diagonal attack into the weak side tower. Let's see what we do with it later on. Luckily, with a double mobile beacon, we're able to dodge most of our opponent's sentry missile strike. However, with no chaff in front of our level 2 Wraith, it quickly died. And this level 3 Tarantula seems to be very tanky, despite everything we said about it. I'm sorry. Your item was not useless. You're very strong. With that, our opponent strikes back and deals a lot of damage to us on round 5. Going into round 6, we like none of these units. The Hounds will just die instantly to the HE Tarantula. Raiden will just die to the Phoenixes until we can chaff clear fast enough, and we don't need Arclight to do the Wraith's job. So from here, we set our eyes on the Scorpion, as it's a singular unit that is a big heavy tank, and it can potentially help us take out the Tarantulas early in the game, early in the round. And if we don't like it, we can sell it for maximal value for 400. After seeing our opponent committing to 3 packs of Phoenixes last round, and realizing that those are the only anti-air units that he has, we decided to make a rapid transition. Now we're officially out of the steel balls, and we immediately went into Fortress anti-air barrage. And here you see, because we didn't know our opponent put down the Tarantulas here, we were hoping to go for this open area here into our opponent's level 1 tower. On the other hand, opponent went for the Raiden, I think thinking the same thing, that this is a good unit against the steel balls in case we go for more steel balls, but if not, he can sell it for 400 maximal value. And then he went for a vertical crawler on the side here to distract 4 packs of chaff, and potentially even our Wraith in the process. The vertical crawler on the line here does not get fully eliminated from a sentry missile, in case you didn't know. So if we were to put a missile here, there's going to still be 3 crawlers left on the backline, contrary to a pack of vertical fangs. So whether we missile this guy out or not, it's going to serve as a fantastic distraction for our opponent. Essentially the same as what we're doing, except we overcommitted. Decided to missile out the fangs, thinking maybe it can help us speed up the... Look at how fast the backside got taken care of. And our mobile beacon trick, once again as well, didn't do anything. Seems like our Scorpion did help out a little bit. Our push almost got through. We almost took out the multiple pack. Look at these tarantulas. Right before death. However, with only 2 fortresses in the air, there was not enough anti-air barrage missiles to take out these high-level phoenixes. I think in this point we can make a decision to continue go for more fortresses, or we can try for something different, maybe like anti-air marksmen in the back or anti-air mustangs. Looking at our reinforcement, we decided to go for the Rhino assault right off the bat, recognizing that both of us are not defending the backside tower. And if our opponent still chooses to ignore the back corner, this can serve as a nice entrance into his level 1 tower. Our opponent had the same thought. Because of his side crawler on here, it's going to effectively pull all of our defensive crawlers in the back away from the tower, allowing this Rhino to make a beeline towards the tower. Let's see which one of our Rhino assaults get in earlier. And here we decided to go for just mass fortresses. We learned this trick from watching Suri, aka Rat, in the early days of Mechabellum, like season 1. We learned that anti-air barrage, if you go for anti-air fortresses, they need to be clumped up together in a tight ball or a straight line to allow you to clear the phoenixes as soon as you can. If you spread them out, you're just going to end up half killing a lot of the phoenixes in the process. For counter, our opponent went for quantum reassembly. This is a really nice tech when you have more than 4 packs of phoenixes, because even though these phoenixes will get shot down by the anti-air barrage, they will just respawn next to another pack, making them essentially unkillable. Oh, let's see if we can take down the phoenixes early enough in the round to reduce any kind of DPS that he has to offer. And here we decided to missile and also beacon back our Wraith a little bit, just so we don't get targeted by the phoenixes too early, allowing this guy to stay back, allow the backline chaff to come in. And you can see now with our lines of anti-air barrage, we're actually able to just take down most of the phoenixes in the process. And that means during the respawning time of the phoenixes, we're taking no damage, and we're able to get tower debuff in the process, allowing us to narrowly come out on top in this round here. And if you guys tuned in to the Mechabellum podcast hosted by Vibe and Gretorb, you will have learned that quantum reassembled phoenixes give full experience to the unit that kills it. And this is why you're going to see 4 of our fortresses leveling up instantly. Going into round 8, likely the very last round if we don't play it carefully, the nuke shows up. On my channel, we have a saying that is, when we see a nuke, we say respect the nuke, especially later in the round. Even though the nuke is not the best for us, knowing that these phoenixes will just respawn right after, it still has a very powerful effect in killing all the chaff, the Raiden, and all the tarantulas if we can land it correctly. Therefore, both of us ended up taking the nuke, trying to deliver a killing blow in this round 8. Seeing our opponent heavily committing to Phoenixes in the air for anti-air DPS and only one pack of Raiden with no Fangs or Mustangs on the ground, we decided to go for the Shielded Wasp. And here we place it perfectly right in front of our important units and trying to predict what kind of nuke our opponent is going to throw down. We should have known that he was going to target where the 4 fortresses are and maybe beacon away these 3 units to the side and just say goodbye to the middle guys. We thought for sure he was going to nuke here. That's why we spent 1 mobile beacon here. Here you see me retracing all my moves because I was thinking maybe this is a good round to grab a barrier by selling out the Phoenix. But it turned out I still didn't have enough money, and now I have 10 seconds left to redo everything I was trying to do. And you'll see that in the process of this panic of trying to draw the mobile beacon, trying to get the Wasp and their tech and the mobile beacon here, we forgot 1 pack of Wasp in the front that was originally meant to be here. And I think this is going to be pretty devastating, as it will allow our units to get instantly targeted. But perhaps not the biggest deal because they're all just going to get nuked down anyway. Let's see here. Oh, you can see the anti-air barrage also damage the opponent's shield, essentially taking them down just in time before the nuke is about to drop. So in this case, we got pretty lucky, and from here we're able to have a level 2 fortress survive the blast, however not for long, but with a similar effect of nuke on both sides. Seems like we came out ahead with just 1 pack of crawlers left on the ground, just enough to distract our opponent's Phoenixes, which allowed us to survive the round with 500 HP and take our opponent down to 1400 HP. Seems like we have the critical mass of fortresses now to be able to take down all the Phoenixes before they can do massive damage. And you also notice that our opponent went for the electromagnetic armor right in front, trying to shut down the anti-air barrage, trying to shut down our range and degen beam tech. Very clever. Looking at the round 9 unit reinforcement, for sure we're thinking this has to be the last round. So either we sell out for more money, or we try to do something cheesy and cheeky with our unit reinforcement. Here we immediately thought all the power is concentrated on this quadrant of the board. Both of us are ignoring this right side corner. So what if we go for a Phantom Ray cheese, as they move pretty fast, they're pretty tanky against the Phoenixes, and we just make a beeline into our opponent's level 1 tower to go for a 9-second debuff. Here we beacon just outside of the defensive wall to allow us to take down the Fangs and then try to target the tower. With the remaining money, we finally got to go for the Fortress Barrier Tech. Even though opponent has very high damage dealing units, the high level Phoenixes, and now with the burst mode Farseers, we believe that with this many high level fortresses, it would be a waste to not have these 80,000 HP barriers available right in the front. If this delays opponent's chaff clear even by a little bit, we'll be very happy. And look at that, with 6 fortresses on the board, that is a lot of barriers for just 700 supplies. Now we finally decided to put down 1 more pack of Wasp right in front of our fortresses, just so we can buy time against the Phoenixes. Let's see if our opponent's burst mode anti-air Farseer are going to be able to take down the Wasp and the Wraiths in the process. And from here, we decided, hey, oil's here. It would just take too long for us to beacon around the oil to make a push for this level 2 tower. There is just far too many units. Instead, if our right side corner cheese doesn't work out, I would still love to have a tower debuff in the middle of the battle through this pack of units, because the tower debuff is going to buy us a lot more time for potentially another round of anti-air barrage. Let's see how this round goes. We missile out the Void Eye in the front, and you can see these shields getting turned off and then turning back on after hitting the Void Eyes. Luckily, even though our shields were taken down from the EMP, we got a very timely tower debuff. And look at this, with only one pack of Tarantula left on the ground, stuck shooting at fortresses, we still have lots of chaff coming in thanks to our opponent's delay crawler. It actually worked in our favor in this case. And from there, with this many fortresses and with the barrier still intact, we're able to pull off a nice transition from the steel balls and come back to a victory against Steelsane. Overall, this game was very close because our opponent got so many levels on these Phoenixes early in the game, which completely shut down our Wraith. Typically, if the Phoenixes were not so strong, our Wraith would have been able to actually just brute force with 8-gun and power through it. And however, noticing that the HE and Phoenix combo was destroying our board, we decided to just make a pivot on round 5 or 6 and suffered a lot of tempo loss because it just takes so long for the Fortress anti-air barrage to come into full effect. We need at least 4 of them to be super effective. So I hope you enjoyed the game as much as I did. Make sure you check out our other replay commentary videos right above me. Thanks for watching. Until next time.